This lecture is on the three branches of government. You'll notice that in the state of Georgia, we have constitutionally separated three powers or three branches of government. It very much mirrors our federal government. Let's start with the legislative branch. The legislative branch is tasked with making law or policy. And in the state of Georgia, we call the legislative branch the Georgia General Assembly, which is bicameral and includes an upper house, which we call the Senate, and a lower house, which we generally call the House. All state legislators serve 2-year terms, and they are not term limited. In Georgia, our legislature is considered part-time. It is limited to 40 working days. To be eligible to be in the Senate, one must be a resident of the state of Georgia for 2 years, a U.S. citizen, and 25 years old. The Senate has 56 members, and they have a unique power of advice and consent, meaning they have the right to approve or reject gubernatorial nominations. The House, which in order to be qualified or eligible to be a member of the House, you must be a U.S. resident, a citizen of Georgia for at least 2 years, and 21 years old by the time of taking office. The House is much larger, with 180 members, and they have the unique power of they get to originate all appropriations bills. And of course, the House and the Senate have a committee system in which they utilize to pass bills and to create policy, and they have legislative leadership positions. Next, the judicial branch is required, or their task is to interpret state law. Georgia has 3 classes of courts: limited, general, and appellate jurisdictions. The limited jurisdiction includes magistrate, probate, juvenile, state, and municipal courts. And the Georgia State Constitution requires that every county in the state of Georgia must have a magistrate, probate, and juvenile court. The general jurisdiction classification of court includes the Superior Court, and the appellate jurisdiction includes the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. Most judges in the state of Georgia are elected in nonpartisan elections. And finally, we move on to the executive branch, and the executive branch is responsible for implementing state policy and laws. We'll start with the chief executive and the commander-in-chief, which of course is the governor of the state of Georgia. The qualifications for the governor: they must be a U.S. citizen for 15 years, a resident of the state for 6, and at least 30 years old at the time of taking office. The governor serves 4-year terms, and he is the only term-limited person in the executive branch. The lieutenant governor has the same qualifications as the governor, and his power is that he is the president of the Senate, and he is supposed to fill in for the governor if the governor is unable to fulfill his duties. What's unique about the governor and the lieutenant governor is that they do not run together on the same ticket. So, unlike at the federal executive level, where the two run together, at the state, the governor and the lieutenant governor may not even be of the same party, since they're both independently elected. It is safe to categorize our state executive branch as a plural executive, which means that we, the voters, directly elect all state members of the executive branch instead of having some sort of appointment process. So what this means is the governor, since he's the only term-limited individual in the executive branch, the governor could be new to the executive branch and could be the only member of his party serving in the executive branch in theory. So this plural executive can at times be seen as an obstacle to the governor achieving his policy goals. So that wraps up sort of a quick synopsis of how our state branches of government are laid out and fundamentally how they function.